Hi, I'm Tom Nelson with Prentiss Carlisle Management Company in Bangor, Maine. I'm head of the Small Woodlot Service Division of Prentiss Carlisle, serving the unique needs of small private landowners statewide. Let me show you what we did for the Woodlawn Museum in Ellsworth, Maine. The Woodlawn property encompasses about 120 forested acres, which we were asked to come down and assess from the standpoint of improving and maintaining the aesthetics of the trails and the water quality on the property, wildlife diversity. There are approximately 2 miles of hiking trails. Part of the trail system, as we're walking here now, had a lot of blowdowns, a lot of dead material and so forth that had been falling down and made it very difficult for the people that enjoyed the property to walk through. So our real objective here was, number one, was to preserve the trail systems, and in addition to that, to provide good forest management on the remaining property and to use low-impact logging. During the initial assessment of the property during early walks, some of the things that were glaringly obvious to me were the fact that the forest was very unhealthy. We had a lot of dead and dying trees. We had a lot of mortality on the ground, creating fire hazards. And we really had a monoculture growing where everything was evenly aged and it didn't have a lot of diversity for wildlife and other fauna. So the harvest really was tailored towards creating more diversity, more viewing opportunities for the public.
Hi, I'm Joshua Torrance. I'm the Executive Director of the Woodlawn Museum, a 180-acre estate in Ellsworth, Maine. In the prior years, it had been very dark. You couldn't walk through the forest and see anything. All you saw was really sort of like walking through a tunnel. And so one of the great benefits of the project was the vistas that were opened up. You could actually see the woods. I mean, you can actually walk through and have a real Maine woods experience now.
Oh, we see tons of Maine wildflowers, and Susan loves wildflowers, so she's been educating me, and every day it seems like we see new ones pop up, like Indian pipe.
That's in bloom now.
That's in bloom now. Of course, there are blueberries right now too, which is wonderful. We get a little snacks now and then from those. I love the peace and the quiet and the serenity. For me, that's really probably the best part.
What we see here is an example of the dense forest that existed on Woodlawn in many areas previous to the harvest. There's no new growth growing here at all because of the heavy shade above. The harvest that we implemented here was to basically create enough sunlight so that we could regenerate this forest. Trees need sunlight to grow, and previous to the harvest that occurred here, this forest was very dark, and with the harvest we now have an opportunity for the sunlight to allow the growth of new trees as we see in the background. We left this area as a educational opportunity to show folks what the forest looked like before the harvest took place. These approximately 50% of the stems we're looking at right here are dead, which obviously added to the fire danger as well as trail maintenance issues. The harvest operation focused on diversifying this forest, trying to retain some of the larger, older trees, as well as propagating the growth of the young stuff that's 10 to 15 feet tall. These are the replacement trees for the large trees as they pass on, and also to propagate and regenerate the forest with new individuals, as we see here. Since the harvest a year and a half ago, these trees are starting to really take place and be established here to replace these old trees. One of the things we tried to enhance on the property was wildlife opportunities. This tree we're looking at here is a stump sprout growing off a stump that was harvested during the operation. This new growth is maple. It's a great food source for deer. Another consideration we had on the Woodlawn harvest was preservation of water quality. In the background we have a pond area that's used by a lot of the people in the wintertime for skating and just enjoyment during the summer months. It's fed by a small brook coming into the back of the pond, and we're very careful in the operation to buffer these areas from any activity. Throughout the Woodlawn property, we identified trees similar to this large tree we have behind us. It provides wildlife opportunity. In the base, we see a den that's being utilized now, as well as the fact that it's a focal point for people walking the trails.
Both of us love nature, so this is one of the best parts of the trail.
It's quiet, the birds are singing.
Woodlawn is a tremendous resource that we are entrusted to care for future generations to enjoy and use. And I don't think every company that we would have hired would have understood that as well as Prentiss and Carlisle did. We thought that we'd actually have to pay someone, and as it turns out, we did rise income enough that we set aside the majority of it for a new grounds maintenance fund. So the proceeds from the timber sales all goes back into the property at some point, and we immediately spend another $5,000 from those proceeds and did additional improvements to the trails. And we never would have been able to do that without the help of Prentiss and Carlisle.